At some point I told her, you will end up doing porn. And she kinda didn't believe what I said, but I was right. This is the No Filter Afternoon Coffee. So today I would like to share with you something that happened when I was around 20. I'm 33 now. And it really stayed in my mind for a long period. And I never said this to anyone. I just kept this story inside my head. But now I think it's time to share with you guys. And don't worry, guys, it's not my ex girlfriend. She didn't go into porn. It's not about that. It's much more about a friend, you know? Not that I had anything sexually with her. I just had this friendship, and she was a really nice girl. I really liked her as a friend, but she ended up going into a really bad path in her life. And one of the main points in this video, it's not about to discuss if she is right or wrong. I'm not going to that. It's all about choices and consequences. And things many times we don't choose. People choose for us, or life chooses for us. Basically what happened, I met this girl when I was around 15, 16, maybe 14, and she was maybe 2 or 3 years younger than me, something like that. And she was a friend of a cousin, and she liked me, like in a romantic way. But I never had anything with her. It was just a platonic love from her side. She was really pretty since she was young. And we kept growing. We didn't see each other for a couple of years. And then when I was about 16, I believe, 17, I met her again, like we saw each other maybe in my cousin's birthday party, something like that. But we didn't keep seeing each other for a while until I was around, I believe, 19, 20, something like that. And then we get together again, started to hang out to some parties. We started to talk more, and it was a nice period. But we just were friends. We had this kind of platonic thing for each other, but we never had, until this point, anything. And I remember that after these years, she was really pretty when she was young, but she get even prettier when she was around 20. She was really, really pretty. The girl that everyone around her looks to her and says, oh my God, who is she? And besides that, she had this sex appeal. She had this kind of magnetism around her. And because there are, those girls who are really pretty, but they don't have this sex appeal. And she was both. She was pretty and she was really sexy. And I remember some of my friends had a thing with her, like they, had an affair, things like that. And I remember she started to have some relationships with really strange guys, really like at one point she had an affair with a drug dealer. And it was crazy because I remember she's saying to me, no, he's nice, he's really cool. Yeah, of course he is cool. And for her lucky, he didn't do anything really bad to her, if you know what I mean. And she kept going. And at some point, she started to have classes with my mom. My mom was a teacher, and she started to have some classes with my mom. And I became closer to her. My mom tried to help her. She was going through a really bad period in her life. I remember as well that she started to do a lot of body tattoos. And she I think she didn't have any tattoo and suddenly she had like 20, different tattoos in her body. I remember in that period, she was sad about many things, and I tried to get closer to her. So that's a very important switch point in this history. I'm just trying to, elaborate to you how it went. And then I met her dad, and that was a really interesting thing. I didn't know a thing about her dad. We went to, I believe, to a sushi place. I was kind of nervous. I don't know how. I don't know why. At the time, I was kind of nervous because, I don't know, I thought something about her dad. I created an image in my head how her dad would it be. And I thought he was a very severe guy, very difficult guy. And actually, he was the opposite. He wasn't severe at all. He was, when we were having dinner, I remember talking to him and seeing how childish he was, And there is important data here. He's a lot older than a dad, with the daughter of her age would be normally, like, I don't know, she was about 18, 19, maybe. I was like 21, 22, I'm not sure. And he was like 65, 66, something like that. And he hadn't any other children, he just had her. So we were there eating sushi. I was talking about different subjects. And throughout the dinner, I just saw how he was kind of childish, and how she had him at the palm of her hand, how she controlled him, how she was the boss and he was kind of, let's say, her son, or her little brother, or something like that. And okay, that happened. And after a while, I went to her house. Not in this day, another day. I went to her house, and we went to hang out together. And I remember that in her house, she had the main room of the house, the room with I don't know how you say that in English, but the room with the bathroom, like which is here in my country, we say that's the main room, usually in a small house, and the other room is just the room when the bathroom is outside, the room. And she had the biggest room in the house, and there is another room, and there was only a hammock in that room. And I asked her, why there is only a hammock here? And she said, my dad sleeps here. And I was like baffled. I was like, what? And she was, yeah, he sleeps here. I was like, okay. Didn't say anything else. And we just went to hang out somewhere else. He wasn't this figure of authority at all. He was the opposite of authority. She was the authority. She was the one who made the calls, And after that, I learned that her grandmother paid for everything in her house. Her dad was addicted to poker, to games, and he had as well. That was terrible. He had a girlfriend from her age, like. And you understand what does it mean, yeah? I don't need to explain that to you. You do understand the representation of it, And in some moment, I just asked her, "Hey, where's your mother?" Because I didn't know if her mother was alive, if she was dead. I didn't know anything about her. And she said, no, my mom lives in, I don't know, Sweden, something like that. And I think she was married there. I didn't even know that you had, like, your mom was alive or anything like that. And she said, yeah, we don't The last time I saw her was like 12 years ago. I said, what? Like, yeah, 12 years ago. So this girl, which was really pretty, really, really pretty, she had this completely fucked up family. Around this time, I think she was around 23, something like that. She started to post naked photos of her on Instagram. No, kind of artistic photos, but you know where this is going to end. I didn't see anything at the time, but I remember at some point when I met her after she started to post these things and she was sleeping with strange people, you know, like I said to her, I think at some point you were going to start doing porn or become like an OnlyFans girl, you know. And she kind of laughed and no, I'm not going to, blah, 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 blah. And after I said it, I tried to help her a few times, but we were in very different paths, and I ended up becoming more distant, you know. Didn't talk to her for a couple of years, and she ended up creating an OF account, you know, and started to selling her pictures there. I think she moved city. She went to live in another city alone by herself, you know, with no family. She became a completely woke girl. She got really ugly. She got really fatter, didn't take care of herself at all. And it was all really sad. All really, really sad. I remember at some point I saw her pictures and not her naked pictures, her normal pictures on Instagram, you know. And I started to feel disgusted by it. And I felt really bad because I felt disgusted by it because she's a human being. She went through a lot. At the same time, she had people trying to help her. But the weight of the family, it is almost always bigger than the weight of the friends or the weight of, you know, what the people around you who loves you can do. Many times you choose to sink, you know, in this boat, this family boat. I think now how important is to have a structured family, how important it is to create a solid base, because if you don't do that, that's what's going to happen, you know. If you read the message behind all of it, she had a weak father, she had an absent mother, she had I don't know how to say that in English, but something like a mainly grandmother, you know, and she was in the middle of it. And then she ended up prisoner of the world. And believe me, she thinks she's choosing things. She thinks that what she does is because she's choosing to do, and not because she's only reacting to a really terrible family, really difficult family. So what I'm trying to tell you with all of it is be careful what you choose. Be really careful. Pay attention in who you will marry, you know? And if you're going to have children with your partner, really try to know this person before you decide to have children. Because it's forever, you know? They are going to grab the good and the bad. Even if you want or if you don't, they are going to grab it by osmosis, you know, they are there. So I would like to leave you with this reflection. What a simple bad choice as her dad and her mother had to be together, to decide to have a child, and they didn't know each other, they didn't know themselves at all, you know. They just did things, they just were going with the wind. And now she's suffering all the consequences of this troubled family. Thank you for watching. See you soon.